Hello and welcome to the second episode of IPcast, a podcast on IP-related matters by Starks, a niche law firm specializing in intellectual property law and international trade law. My name is Maria Bajtsova-Vienans and I'll be your host today. This time let us talk about trademarks, and in particular about the list of goods and services. You will learn what kind of a beast that is and why it matters. And for those of you who intend to file their trademark themselves, I will share the 5 most common mistakes and how to avoid them. So, shall we start? You probably know Dove soap. And what about Dove chocolate? These two Doves perfectly coexist, both in the market and in the trademark register. How come? This is possible because the trademark of Unilever is registered for soaps and beauty products, while the very similar one of Mars Incorporated is registered for chocolate. There could be no likelihood of confusion on behalf of customers as long as goods remain so different. In the end, it is very unlikely that someone would start biting the bar of soap, although using chocolate in one's beauty routine could very well be argued. The above two are the famous examples, though there are in fact more Doves out there. Like there's a wordmark Dove registered in Benelux for fresh fruits and vegetables. There's a wordmark Dove registered in Europe for kitchen furniture, bedside tables and mirrors. There's also a figurative trademark Dove registered for telecommunications, in particular radio and television broadcasting. All of these and more trademarks coexist because their lists of goods and services are different. And that's okay. The very purpose of a trademark is to distinguish the goods and/or services of one company from that of the other. To ensure that this purpose is fulfilled, when a company applies for a trademark, it has to choose the exact goods and/or services from the 45 classes of the classification. When the trademark application is prepared by a professional lawyer specialized in intellectual property protection matters, she or he will take care of the list for your trademark. However, if you intend to do it yourself, make sure to avoid the following mistakes. Mistake number 1. Confusing the actual service you intend to render with the way you plan to market it. For example, you're planning on offering a mealbox subscription service for cats. To market it, you intend to give webinars, engage in social media advertising, sponsor some events, etc. However, your business remains meal preparation and retail, not webinars and sponsoring. Mistake number 2. Selecting a goods class instead of a services class. This is equally frequent. If what you intend to offer is print and online advertising services, your primary class is not class 16, which is paper goods. You are not going to be making paper. You will be offering a service using this paper, which you will source from someone else. Or, for example, you have a startup that intends to bring new software on the market. Do you think that applying for software of class 9 will get you covered? Think again. It depends on the type of software you have in mind. Is it software that users can download to their devices? Or perhaps you're in fact running this software on your own servers on behalf of your customers. In the latter case, this software as a service will rather fall under service class 42. Mistake number 3. Choosing too few classes. Sticking with the example of advertising services, if you intend to be offering development of advertising concepts, writing and publication of publicity texts, then you should look into class 35. However, if you also intend to do the graphic design of these promotional materials, then this belongs in class 42. Also, remember that once you have applied for a trademark, you cannot later expand the list of goods and services. If you want to add something later, you will need to apply for a new trademark. Therefore, having a healthy idea of what you might be offering next year or the year after with the same trademark is an important moment to think about at the moment of filing. Obviously, when you were offering graphical design services 20 years ago, you could not have imagined that you would be eventually moving into the 3D printing. Yet some strategic moves could very well be predicted and properly protected in advance. Mistake number 4. Choosing too many classes. Also, too many is bad. Of course, if you intend to use your trademark in connection with all of them, go ahead, bearing in mind that the risk of infringing on someone else's rights will likewise be enhanced. However, if you never plan on making cages for household pets, do not put them on your list. Mistake number 5. Applying for the class heading. This is linked to the previous mistake. In applying for the class heading, you risk having your list too broad, even though this time too broad within one class. These class headings are not specific enough to ensure the optimal protection for your trademark. Both absolute and relative grounds for refusal of its registration depend on the list of goods and services. It could very well be that for certain items on your list, your trademark will be distinctive enough, while for the others, it could be found descriptive. As a consequence, trademark registration could be just refused. The 5 mistakes I mentioned are just the most common mistakes related to the list of goods and/or services. However, of course, there are more possible pitfalls. The bottom line is the list of goods and services is very important, as it determines the scope of protection for your trademark. Thus, if you intend to apply for your trademark yourself, do spend some time researching the matter. Your trademark is meant to serve your interests, to give you a competitive advantage, and to be part of your IP strategy, on the condition that your application is done right, of course. And if you do not want to do it all yourself and would prefer a knowledgeable IP lawyer to help you get a trademark that would best serve the interests of your particular business, I happen to know some very good ones. Feel free to drop us a line at info@starks.be and we will take the very best care of your trademark. Thank you very much for listening. As always with podcasts, please like, share, and subscribe. And for any questions, suggestions, concerns, as well as, of course, for service requests, just drop us an email. Once again, it is info@starks.be. Starks, your sustainable growth supporter.